Good morning. Well, it was last night or yesterday evening. I was out and it was cold. It wasn't as cold as obviously the week before, but it was cold. Anyway, so did you know, just a little fun fact here, that you can bet on whether Vancouver will have a white Christmas? Could be interesting. They're calling for mixed rain and snow on the 9th, or sorry, on the 26th. So it could all be very interesting. So why don't you grab, I'm just checking it here. I don't have it on here. But go grab your coffee, tea, hot chocolate, whatever you like, and we'll get going with today's topic. Okay. Now, yeah, drugs again. But this one is a little bit out of the commonplace. And this is that, there we go, that's a little bit better. That a Saanich dog has experienced opioid overdose after an accidentally exposure at Mount Douglas Park. Now, I'm sorry. It's bad enough people are using it and getting sick over these overdoses. But what's worse now is that animals are getting involved. Now, it was lucky that a dog, I think yes, the owner took him to the vet and he was able to be saved. But what about animals out there that don't have the choice and don't have owners that could take them to get care? This is something that's upsetting. It's kind of like setting a trap for an animal and just killing it and leaving it. Animals should have the right to live the best they can. Now, over the years, we've kept encroaching on their area. And this is not a good thing to do. But, we keep doing it, and oh yes, everyone wants the nice big homes, and everyone wants, miles of land. But yet, there's wild animals out there who need places to live. And this is, the sort of thing I'm getting worried about. Mr. Trump says that he wants to cut down on the bureaucracy for business. So a business comes up with a plan. Oh yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want. To me, that doesn't seem an answer. I think we are given ownership of the earth. And just saying, oh, well, business, you can do whatever you want, as long as, there's paybacks or anything. And we only have one world. And if we're going to damage the environment for our future kids, all for the buck, I don't think it's worth it. But people seem to just see, oh, well, yes, we can get rich anytime, and we can do this, and we can do that. But where does it stop? When are we going to stop just raping the world for money? We're already overpopulating the world, and look at China, India. Well, China at least is doing something about it, but India is just, we're being overpopulated, and I think we have to stop. First of all, like I said at the beginning, it's bad enough that humans have to go and shoot up, but if they're leaving drugs around the neighborhood and animals are getting sick because they're being overdosed with their size, well, we need for this to stop. And I think people realize this, but oh well. It's the kind of story you would hear. Oh well, did you hear of the poor dog who, got exposed to, he OD'd on drugs? Well, it wasn't his decision. It wasn't his decision to try it. Now, a lot of people wouldn't even care less. Oh, well, it's just a dog. But, I think we should be worried. And we need to stop, and we need to say, you know what? I care enough about the environment, children, animals. A number of us think that injection sites are a good thing. Well, because, it gets them out of the neighborhood, but people don't want them built anywhere near them. Because you know what? They're going to hang around. But what are you going to open? Injection sites in the forest for these animals? Now, what a person would take is definitely an overdose for an animal. So, what do we have to do? Do we have to have the antibodies that kind of nullify the overdose for our forest rangers? And we sorry, this story would get attention from people if it was a baby who got overdosed. But because it was an animal, it's kind of way down on the list. So, it's not bad enough that we have humans, we have animals, and they don't even have the choice. It's kind of like, well, it was found. And, the answer for an awful lot of people, oh, well, that was 1 in a million chance. Well, so it's 1 in a million chance. People still should not harm animals. I believe this falls under cruelty of animals. But, until a human gets sick, then, excuse me, we don't really care. It's not my fault. It was kind of, well, the dog owner should be more alert and made sure that his dog or her dog didn't get into anything. Well, having a dog running around, racing aimlessly could be part of the issue. But on the other hand, the animal would not get exposed if it wasn't there. And, it could be that, the police were coming and they pulled aside, or, they could have dropped it or lost it. And, this may be a 1 in 1,000 chance, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be worried about it. And I think that people need to talk about this, bring this up, because humans already cause enough issues for dogs, cats, but wild animals, they need protection. Just something we need to discuss. Salvation Army reports that donations are down. And in the Vancouver, BC region or area. And, I could see this being an issue where because of our weather, a milder, yes, it's wet, but a milder area where an awful lot of people will come and try to find places to live, or it's probably easier than sitting out in the snow of Edmonton or Toronto or but there is a drop and they place it on the high cost of living. And high cost of living, well, Vancouver has always had a high cost of living. But people aren't really going to want to live in a place, if they're homeless, they want to be where it's warmer for most of the year. And Vancouver has that. Now, just reading from here, it says, from housing to personal income, the impact of affordable is causing a rippled effect that is now hitting charitable donations. Now, I was with Scouts for many years, and we worked closely with the Girl Guides. And the Scouts would go out and sell, it was either calendars and it was apples. And these were sort of for our region, these were the big choice fundraisers. And if people aren't able to eat or have a house over their heads, they're going to have to spend their money in acquiring these things. Sorry, let me get this. Now, they say the average donation is down 25 cents. And people are saying they just can't afford it. And you know what? We're in our big Christmas run. Salvation Army is one of the agencies that run the shelters. Now, if they can't have money to do this, then they're going to end up having to close. Now, the British Columbians had said affordable housing had been the main criteria. So things like, the roof doesn't leak and there's heat on, and it doesn't mean, we have to have the big mansion. But we need to be able to ensure that agencies that do well are able to get donations. Now, there are many out there. There is Heart. Well, Heart and Lung pretty well does theirs in February. Diabetes kind of would like it done all year, but they pretty well concentrate in November. Now, the one traditionally, which is high amounts of money coming in, is the food banks. It's actually in the summer when the food banks have problems. During the winter, yes, let's give food to the food bank. And when the food bank is pretty well asking for money, we end up hurting more. Because if they get food, a lot of the food that's donated to them. Now, a lot of people in the survey say that things are getting worse. And, we're looking at what was said. Was it last week? I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm tired. But if the Liberal Christy Clark wants to raise MSP fees, that's just cutting into the bigger pie all the way around. So, I really think we need to increase the donations and get out there and find an answer to the problem. Now, we already talked about donations down for the Salvation Army. But you know what? It's also worse off when people say stuff like, well, if they were so lazy, they could get up and get a job and have a solution to it all. Well, I don't think it's fair when there's not enough jobs going around. And the next comment, well, they could do this job or they could do that job. And a lot of them are menial job. And people seem to think, oh, well, menial jobs. It still works. But when you have to take that home and you have to eat, you would have to have clean clothes, all these things start snowballing. Now, we have to have a strong economy in order to increase donations. So, what do we do? Well, part of it is the conservative notion that you work with the people who run the businesses and find out what do we want or what do they want. But people, the whole unemployable or is a lot of uh, hidden agendas. And maybe not agendas, but hidden thoughts and misconceptions are all out there. But, and, oh well, don't donate food. And, I can remember growing up. Big deal. But people at school, they'd have canned food drives, and those really don't work because people always say, oh, well, let's clean out, let's give them this. And it's usually stuff that's outdated, no one likes it. Whereas if they donate the money, then people can really do shopping because the amount of stuff they buy, they can get a cheaper price. Something we need. Okay, now there's people who, during the Christmas season, get down on themselves and, they're not really happy with the Christmas season because they have no money, they don't have a big family, or they're not getting along with their families. And I just kind of have to shake my head and say it doesn't matter if you're with a big family. Yeah, big family may be great, but what's important is that you do something that's special for you. Some people, it may be going to the movies. Others may be, they could write a book, order a pizza. But it's what is accepted for you. But people keep getting caught up with this notion, oh, yes, well, we have to have a whole bunch of food and give a whole bunch of food, and or we have to give gifts and we have to have this big party. And that's not the real meaning of Christmas. Did you know how Christmas got the name? Yes, it was to celebrate Christ, but Mass was the church of the Roman Catholic area of the time. So people were expected to go out and go to church and celebrate Mass. And, eventually it started up about giving gifts and then we started this whole culture about um, people getting stuff from work and I mean like gifts or a Christmas bonus, and then I don't really know it too much up here, but down in the States there's an awful lot about giving money to your um, milkman, to your mailman, anyone who's done service to you, you would give money to. But are we only being nice to people because we can get stuff out of them? It's a sad thing if we are, and I think a lot of it says that yes, this is what we've come to. We just want to keep giving money or doing stuff that we can get money. And yet, the whole Christmas season, we pretty well have lost what we like. And there's so many holidays that are around the Christmas season. And that's because the short days of winter. By the way, tomorrow we start working the other way, where our nights are going to start getting shorter and the days are going to get longer. Tonight, or yesterday, sorry, was the shortest day out of the year. Something we can look forward to. So, we really need to work on doing whatever we want to do to be happy. Could be sitting down to dinner with a large family. It could be that could be going to church. But as long as it's healthy for you, it's what you make of the day. It's not, oh well, I didn't have a very Merry Christmas because I didn't do this or I didn't get that. And the only thing I would really say is not everyone fits the same mold. And, if someone's out there getting items or, giving everyone items, if they feel good about that, that's great. But it doesn't necessarily have to be. Now, how many people tend to really get upset if not every single person gives them a treat or a present? Giving is something from the heart. And yet, there's people out there who constantly feel bad if someone gives them a Christmas gift and they don't give anything back. But I don't think that was the whole idea about exchanging gifts. It was to show the love of your fellow man. So, think about that. Anyway, I am extremely tired. I'm going to go and have a lay down. Tomorrow we'll do a longer one. Anyway, I'll be right back with closing thoughts. As I started to say, you want to get out, make Christmas your own, do whatever you want. Just because you feel upset that Christmas isn't, oh well, my mother always had a great amount of food and blah blah blah. It doesn't really matter. Christmas is what you want to do. If you're invited somewhere out to dinner and you'd like to go, well, go. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and get a gift or invite the person back. But we get into this, oh, well, they gave me something, so I better go and give something to them. Nothing, there's no written law. I think that whole thing goes back to the days where, oh, well, you have to show how much better you are than anyone else or how much stuff you have. And the best thing is sort of like, oh, well, yes, you see, I can afford it. And then another person's, oh, well, I have to give as much. Why not find and do something from the heart? Anyway, tonight was a short one, or tonight. This morning was a short one. I'll be back on the 23rd. And hopefully we'll have a longer one. I'll talk to you later. Bye.